live from CYC Studios. We're on Guys Talk, Season 2. And I am joined by my extraordinary group of youth here that just love to talk the issues on, again, CYC Guy Talk. Live tonight, we've got a group from St. Mary's, San Antonio's Coptic Orthodox Church of Queens, New York, to talk about a touching topic for many of us. Many of us may sometimes go overboard with it. Sometimes we don't know if it's a sin or not. Or sometimes we don't know how to deal with it. The topic is anger. Now, I've got a question. I got a question for you. Why don't you just say what your name is, my friend?
My name is Carlos.
Carlos.
Yeah.
Perfect. Great. Carlos, let me ask you a question. What are some examples of things that made you get very angry? To the point where you're like, you're angry,
Well, that has to do sometimes with my brother and sometimes with my parents when I don't when I need to, or when I want to go someplace, or I want to do something.
Where are you going?
Well, just just go someplace with your friends.
No. So you're saying that your parents, they have a big fight with you about it, or why would you get angry about the situation?
I don't think that they listen. I think they just have a lot of things that they're saying. Like about safety that I don't think
George, give me one.
Well, maybe some things that get us angry are when we have a plan set out for ourselves and then it doesn't happen the way we planned, we wanted it to.
So, we get disappointed, we get angry. Is that similar to what you were saying about the disappointment,
Yeah, I was disappointed because I wanted to go someplace with my friends.
Yeah. Hold on. I mean, I love you so much, man. But the thing is here, you can't be saying, I wanted to go there, I want to go here, I want to go where. I want to know the details. I want to be in the story here. Go ahead. Where did you trying to go?
I was going to I wanted to go someplace to eat sushi in Manhattan, just with a couple of friends.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
And that's farther away, just for our international viewers. Manhattan is like a different city. Manhattan is a very big city. I'm sure you heard of it. But you're in Queens, so it's going into Manhattan, right?
Yeah. And at first, they're like, no, you have to take your brother. But my brother doesn't know any of these people. So it was just going to be awkward just taking him. So then after a while, I said yes. And they're like, no, you're going to come home too late. Okay? But I'm like, no, I just didn't get it. Because why would they, other people's parents were letting them go. How come, me, I'm not, I'm some special case. I don't think I'm stupider than any of them.
All right. So you dealt with the first hurdle, which was bringing my brother, Mina, right?
Yeah.
I had him in Sunday school, his brother. And I actually had you in Sunday school too, right? It's a beautiful thing. But you first dealt with that, I got to bring my younger brother along. All right. You dealt with it. You said you sucked it up. You did it. And then, was it your mother?
Yeah, it was my mom.
Who said, forget everything.
Yeah.
I didn't think you were going to go for that. Forget everything.
Yeah.
All right, how did you handle it?
I got really angry, and I just tried to if she didn't know that they were with people from church, okay? So I thought if I would say that, if I lied about it, that she was going to let me go. So I lied about it. But she still didn't let me go.
Huh. So they weren't people from church, but they were they weren't people from
No, they were my friends, but not from church.
Oh, okay. So you said to her, your mom, you were like, does this work? Is this gonna make it happen?
Yeah, I told her some people that she knew,
Mm-hmm.
and then I agreed with them that she could call them, but.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I mean, so now we're taking from your expectation, so that you wouldn't continue to get angry. We hear about now other things that are brewing. some other, maybe, I don't know if you want to call them lies.
They're
or,
lies, no,
I mean,
they're
hey,
lies.
listen, that's what happens when, you know, we get the juices going, right? But how did you react to the final conclusion that you couldn't go?
There was nothing that I could say to her because she was my mother. So like,
Of course.
I didn't want to scream at her.
But you felt that way?
Yeah, I really felt angry, and I was about to take it out on my brother because I felt that it all started because of him. But I don't think it was. It started because of him. I think it was just like she was using him as an excuse. Yeah.
So, like deep down, you know that your mom's intention, it was out of safety.
I don't think it was out of safety. I don't think anyone was gonna get hurt.
So then you felt like there was something that
I think it was her insecurities.
of how, like, you in the city.
Yeah.
And you felt like, what are you doing, Ma? I know what I can handle.
I'm getting older now. Like.
Yeah. Okay. Well, listen, this is guy talk. So, you know, we're talking guys and whatnot about things that are real. And I appreciate that you told us this story. But I definitely want to just put out there, before we hear more, especially from Rami, you know, that anger is not a sin. And it's important for us all to be on that same page. Do we feel sometimes that it is, though?
Yeah.
When? Rami? I heard you say something. You said yeah, right? Or you said murmured something.
You're asking if anger is a sin.
What do you feel?
I do feel that anger is a sin.
Oh, okay.
Right, and I feel anger when we take it to different extents. Like that anger, like what Kiro said, it led to lying, and that is what's a sin. So, but it initially started from anger.
So you're saying that, are you saying that the anger itself is the sin, or is it something that can lead to the sin?
Correct. It can lead to a sin.
But is it itself its sin?
No, it's not.
Oh, all right. Mina, give me your thoughts here on anger. Is it a sin? You have like a story for us?
I think anger is not a sin because it's an emotion. So like that's like saying that happiness is a sin because it's an emotion that you feel. So anger is something that like anything can make you angry basically, or like it depends how you are to a certain extent.
What are some of the things that come along, like come with anger? Like, what are some of the pros and the cons of anger? So we're saying that it's not a sin, but it can lead to a sin. So obviously everything that God has given us is a gift, is a blessing. Anger is a blessing, is a gift from God, if that's one way to look at it. But what are, in your opinion, George, give me something that we can say that anger, this is a blessing here, and it can be taken when it's not in the right way, it can be taken and messed up into a path of sin. Give me both sides if you can.
The negative examples, like the negative aspects of anger, I think are pretty obvious, like, you know, whether they're physical or mental. Like physical, you know, it might lead you to be violent or something, you know, punch a wall, I don't know. And then maybe mental, you know, it might get you thinking in ways that you shouldn't be thinking, like, oh, you know, she never does anything for me anyway, my mom, I don't know. That's not true, obviously, but, you know, it might get you thinking on different things that really aren't true. And then as for the blessings, maybe the thoughts can actually be taken in a positive way and get you thinking about positive things.
I like ideals. You understand? What are the positive things? Give me some examples, some specific things that we can think of. I mean, listen, this is Guy, again, do you know what show we're on?
Guy Talk.
Thank you. On Guy Talk, all right, on Guy Talk, we don't just bring up some Sunday school theology. You know, we want to bring it into real life situations. So give me an example of this, it can be positive kind of thing, that you mentioned?
All right, well, most of us here are seniors in high school, so we're all applying to colleges and stuff. And I know me personally, like I didn't get accepted to one of the colleges that, you know, I kind of wanted to go to. And yeah, obviously I got angry, you know, I got disappointed. But then, you know, you might want to like look at the positives of it and, you know, talk to someone about it, and then you could realize that, you know, God has a plan for me, and then you could look at that positively. Like God has a plan for me, you know, if this is not part of the plan, then that's it.
So if we were to put that in one word, what would it be?
Optimistic.
Optimism through anger? What would be the fruit of what you just said? Like you said, I like what you said, and I'm only putting you on the spot because I love that, you know? But in terms, all right. How about Rami here? He likes to laugh, he likes to you know, go ahead. Give me one.
Patience.
Ooh. Bam. I'm waiting for you, and I'm going to come back to you. Patience. Give me an explanation. What do you mean?
Okay, so like you get angry about, like, say I'll go back to the example that George gave. Like you got angry because you didn't get into a certain college that you wanted to go to. Like patience can, like, God will have a plan for you. So like you applied to many other colleges. Maybe that wasn't a college that you thought that was good, but like it really wasn't good. Like you were just going there maybe because like one of your friends was going. So patience, like a college that God knows that you're gonna do good in and He wants you to go to, is gonna come to you.
I love that. Patience. Gotcha. So we got a patience, and we mentioned some of the, I guess we could call them rotten fruits, and some really delicious fruits of ripe fruits of anger. But we're just going to take a little break and hear from some of our listeners.
Do you have a temper?
Yeah, a pretty bad temper.
Yeah. How often do you get mad a day?
Every day, maybe once or twice a day. Yeah.
What are some situations you can find yourself mad in?
Usually when I speak to my parents. I know most teenagers, like I do, get frustrated when they speak to their parents. So I do end up getting angered throughout the day with my parents. Yeah.
So how do you deal with this anger?
Sometimes I yell, but after I do try to calm down, I do try to think about what I did wrong, so that I can go back and apologize to them, because I know it's not their fault. They're just trying to help me out.
What issues or situations you find yourself mad in?
When people don't find a level. So there's a point where people don't know when to be mature, when they can goof off and stuff like that. And it's really about having a filter in your life. And I think that's a big issue, and that kind of makes me mad.
Yeah. So how do you express your anger? Verbally, physically?
Probably more verbally than anything else. I'm not very physical.
Yeah. So how do you try to deal with it or cope your anger?
If you look at it through Christ's perspective, in that famous phrase, WWJD, what would Jesus do? If you really look at it through a spiritual perspective and look at if other people are looking at you and you as a role model and yourself as in a community, you know, you try to cope with it internally, and not in the sense that you'll like hurt yourself or hurt others.
I do get mad sometimes. I try to control it the best I can. I don't like getting mad. It's I want to be happy. You know, just I don't want to be down. I hate being sad or mad.
Nothing really gets me mad. Like I'm more of a happy person. I don't like to get mad.
Small mistakes. At like friends, family.
So how do you express that anger? Physically, verbally?
Physically.
Yeah.
And verbally sometimes.
Okay. So how do you deal with that anger or try to cope it?
I try to like focus on something else, try to listen to music, do something else to like get my mind off it real quick before I get out of control and something bad happens.
When someone hurts my family or just disrespects me.
Okay. So how do you often find yourself dealing with this kind of situation?
Well, I have self-control, so I just
I mean, I just try and deal with it the best way as possible.
Usually when I get mad at people, I just like store it inside. Like when people do annoying things, like being superficial, that kind of stuff.
So how do you end up dealing with this type of anger?
Let it out on my family.
Verbally or physically? Or you just think about it?
Verbally. Like they do something small or like something that doesn't need to be like, you don't need to get that mad about it, but I just flip.
So what kind of treatment can you give yourself to stop that anger?
Stop the anger. Well, you could let it out to God because He takes the most, but I don't do that and I need to.
Or when the person in front of me is very stubborn.
Very stubborn. So how do you deal with this anger?
Guess I take deep breaths.
Yeah. Does it go away?
Sometimes.
Do you have a temper?
Not really.
So what are some situations you can find yourself mad in?
I guess when I get blamed on for stuff for no apparent reason.
So how do you deal with that anger?
I guess I talk to someone I trust about it, maybe a Buna, and like let him solve it.
And we're back. That was some interesting opinions and thoughts and views we heard from our CYC fellowship brethren from other parts and other churches. So it's very interesting for us to hear and to hear that we're all feeling kind of the similar things, but also it's okay. Anger is something that is biblical. And actually, we were, in our previous segment, we were talking about the fruits of anger. And both the positive fruit, and maybe, if you want to call it, the rotten fruit of anger. And I just wanted to bring up a verse for us to kind of wrap up with, but also wanted to get your thoughts before we finish off the show here. In James chapter 1, verses, in the Epistle of St. James, chapter 1, verse 24. Actually, verse 19. So then, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. In verse 20, for the wrath of man does not produce the righteousness of God. The wrath of man does not produce the righteousness of God. But in the previous verse, we are taught to be slow to speak, swift to hear, and slow to wrath. So wrath is something that is part of it. It's not saying don't have wrath. It's slow to wrath. And then the follow-up verse is, for the wrath of man does not produce the righteousness of God. So now we're hearing. Well, I want to extract the depth from the inner cores of you all. I want to know what you guys are taking away from this, because it's so important that we understand that, because of course any extreme, any if you say, oh, anytime I'm angry, it's a complete sin. Well, actually, no. That in itself, that thought is a sin. But if you're thinking, it's perfectly okay for me to be in sin, bam, slam everything, just destroy everything. Not only do you need to get away from me, but you also, that's a wrong interpretation of it. So, what is St. James touching on right here? Kira.
There's two types, I guess, of
yes.
that.
Okay, and what are they?
The good type.
Let's use it. Let's use it in the same way that St. James used it. The wrath of man. So that could be the
bad type of wrath.
Or the
murderous type.
The rotten fruit.
But it's the flesh.
Yeah.
It's when God isn't involved in this anger, and it's when it takes over. And then the other form is the what form of wrath?
Well, there's the worldly form, and then there's the righteous.
Godly, righteous, the healthy form. Very good, yeah. Now, but what does it mean swift to hear, slow to speak?
Don't take everything, like, think about it. Don't be a hothead, think right away, like, react right away. You gotta, like...
Very good,
something
very
gets
good.
you angry, you gotta, like, don't react right away, because that reaction might lead to something that you don't mean to do or want to do.
Very good. Now, that exactly the word swift in New King James Version it literally means as soon as possible. So sometimes, like maybe in the situation, and Kiro, you definitely didn't do this because you didn't. I mean, of course, you have a lot of respect for your mom, and you know you wouldn't go nuts on her or anything like that. But you even were willing to take your brother, and you made these decisions without immediately saying or letting something get the best of you. What is that something? Some people call them hothead. Tantrums. Another word of the T. Temper. You know, sometimes our temper can be just overwhelming, you know, and we just, that guy has a hot temper where they're, you know, anything can set them off. They're very short fuse. That's going back with the what? What type of wrath? Worldly. And you know, all of these people, all of us as people, we're all made differently. Some of us are very patient. They can endure a lot. Some of us, you know, very, very easygoing, but something can just get us going. So wherever we are in our lives, this verse really speaks to us because it's telling us to be slow. Slow to what? Speak. Now, give me some examples from like the results of someone that was not slow to speak.
Get into fights.
So why would they get into a fight?
Because you say something that
you
don't mean.
You said something, maybe, right? Okay. What else?
You want specific examples?
No. Just so he said you might get into a fight. What else?
You might anger the person.
You might anger the other person through words. What other things? You might hurt someone's feelings. You might say something that you didn't mean. You might say something that has like deeper consequences. You might have completely, maybe, you know, someone who has a short temper.
Trigger their temper.
You could trigger their temper, but then also for your own relationship. Let's say it was with your mom, right? I'm just using that example, but you know, I can tell you that, you know, and I've experienced this myself, where, you know, spur of the moment, your mom really just, or your parent, someone really close to you said something so, that really just was so completely out there. Quickly address what they were saying in something that was hurtful, and not only do they feel bad, you feel bad, but you feel bad because you hurt them, and there's a recovery process, and then there's healing, and if we take advice here, where we're slow to speak, then would be slow. That as a result, we'll be slow to actually express this fruit of the wrath. And it says one other thing before speak, though. What was it?
Slow to hear.
Swifty.
Yeah. So what do you guys think about that? Swift to hear.
I think it's right on, because like there was actually this person in our church who's probably actually watching this right now that always used to tell us, you know, just take a second when someone is talking to you, just don't say anything, just stand there and listen to the person. You know, maybe it can influence your life, or like somehow, or whether it's a situation or in the long run, just, you know, don't talk and just listen to him for a little bit.
Very good, and very, very rare that's done, which is listening, you know? Sometimes there's huge fights, and maybe a lot of the times, the fights are, there are two people fighting about the same thing, you know? Like, I don't want to go there, I don't want to go there either, I don't want to, and then boom, they just ended up somehow in, you know? I mean, obviously that's an extreme example, you know, but if it was a matter of just listening and taking the approach of just kind of not the aggression, taking these feelings of maybe temporary rage or this temper and having self-control, the result will be the godly form of wrath. Because we're all going to come across different situations that we may not know how to handle in that exact moment. But it's going to be a lifetime of us constantly refining the instructions we get from the Holy Bible to really have the Word of God be able to come out of us in both the words and from the way we express anger. So may we all work on this. May we all constantly pray for patience as a positive blessing of the anger, and learn how to be less of the worldly view and more of the godly view. Thank you for joining us on this episode of CYC Guy Talk. And I sure learned a lot from being with you guys. And I hope that you guys out there got something out of it as well. Please feel free to email us at the address on the screen, or visit our Facebook page. We're actually redoing it now, and we're really excited about this. The second season here of CYC Guy Talk. It's a blessing to be again with you guys, and we're going to see a lot of new faces. Till next time, thank you, God bless, glory be to God forever, amen.